Some of them are creative.
Look at this, the bench just got thrown on the ice.
Some of them are funny.
He takes Harvey's tongue, throws it into the crowd.
But most of these coaches just lost it.
Mike Keenan wants to get at the timekeeper.
However you want to categorize them, they are entertaining.
Have another goal night. Have another goal night.
They are the top 10 hockey coaches gone wild moments, and they are next. Hi, everybody, and welcome to another SportsCentre Top 10 special. I'm Darren Detition, and as always, we are glad that you tuned in. Now, show me some bad officiating, and I will show you a very angry coach. The worse the call, the more annoyed the coach gets. And when you poke an angry coach, well, they pretty much lose it, as you are about to see in our top 10 hockey coaches gone wild. We begin with a man who has coached 8 different NHL teams and made friends and enemies at every stop. Iron Mike Keenan.
We talk about players' primes of their career. That's the prime of angry Mike, Iron Mike Keenan.
It's always brought up to me about wild behavior as a coach.
Presley coming back over the line, gets it to Thomas. Thomas in deep, gonna go in front. They score, or do they? No goal. Wait a minute. The game is over. There's no red light on.
It was a time clock issue along with Van Helman, who was the official. And we had pulled a goalie, we scored a goal, and the clock continued to run. Andy didn't signal the goal. We scored another goal, and Andy didn't see that, and the clock ran out, and it expired, and the game was over, and we lose after we scored.
Puck's in the net, definitely. The puck's in the net with 2 seconds to go.
It was just the emotional response, the crazy response, but I was going across that ice. I was very upset. Even my players were surprised. I'm running across the ice in the Boston Garden.
Mike Keenan wants to get at the timekeeper. I don't know how what Andy Van Helman was arguing about, or his point was that the green light came on, preventing the red goal light from going on. But that shouldn't be able to happen. There were clearly 2 seconds on the clock.
The scorekeeper you usually think is some anonymous little dude in a bad suit and clip-on tie who maybe gets a little bit of face time when somebody's in the penalty box, and that's about it. He's not some guy the coach goes after.
Mike Keenan is over to the timekeeper, and he is trying to assault him. Mike Keenan, they have to restrain him. He is so mad.
I was so incensed at the time. I wasn't looking at him. I was looking at the glass and trying to find a way of getting over it. So I never got to that point, thank God. I think it was Troy Murray and Keith Brown ended up tackling me and preventing me from actually climbing into the timekeeper's box. Malfunction, as I said, all around, and I called it a meltdown. I guess the meltdown was me, and the malfunction was in the game.
We were in Calgary. We were getting beat by a couple 3 goals at the time.
Conroy waiting for it. There's Lowry with a shot. Salo down, puck out. They score! Ginless shoots, gets a rebound. They score! Dave Lowry, and it's 2-0. Conroy shooting, scores!
The dog came down to the bench and was taunting us.
Harvey was just curious. You know how dogs are. They're curious, wondering what's going on in the bench.
I thought it was completely inappropriate.
Playing with Mac D, I knew he wasn't going to be happy. I thought he might have ripped his head off, but he just ended up ripping his tongue out.
Harvey the Hound came down and was too close for Craig McTavish's liking, and he takes Harvey's tongue, throws it into the crowd.
When he put his hands over the glass, I was going to wrap his knuckles. But our trainer back in those days, he wouldn't give me a stick. I was the most shocked of anybody that tongue came ripping out of his mouth.
The guys were all laughing. I mean, they looked up, and then it was on the Jumbotron right after him ripping it out, and Harvey kind of running away.
Here he comes out the next night with the Coyotes in attendance at the Saddle Dome with a new tongue.
That's what sports is, entertainment. I think the fans had fun with it. Everybody did, and the guys especially.
At the end of the game, I saw it, so I came out and I was kind of chuckling to myself. It was pretty comical.
The one my kids play on YouTube all the time when they want to get a laugh.
The young buck, Crawford, And you know, the old legend, Scotty Bowman.
Where I lost it behind the bench.
Look out between the benches now.
The benches again.
Coaches are starting to go at it.
Who's he pointing at?
I think it's Scotty Bowman.
And I was arguing about, Shanahan really taking advantage of Corbet.
Shanahan on Corbet. Lenny Corbet is in tough.
And he's giving Corbet a couple of rights, a couple of pops.
Scotty had done his job. He had gotten under the skin of everybody on our side, most particularly me.
And now, here we go, Mark Crawford and Scotty Bowman.
Crawford and Bowman.
And here comes Mike Krushelniski and Mike Foligno. Ooh, that Mike Foligno, I would bet on Mike Foligno in this battle.
Scotty Bowman's demeanor was so calm, and he's looking at Crow, and Crow is losing his mind. I mean, losing his mind.
And Crawford apparently challenging the Detroit bench. And one of the Avalanche players trying to restrain Mark Crawford. Now Scotty Bowman trying to pull everybody off, but obviously it's not done on the Colorado side as Foligno leans over.
I got served a huge playoff lesson by a legend in Scotty Bowman. So again, it's not a very proud moment for me, and I just basically acted off of instinct. And sometimes that's not a bad way to be. In that particular case, probably not the right idea.
The game was between the Mississippi River Kings and the Colorado Eagles in the Central Hockey League.
This is the assistant coach, former player for the Colorado Eagles, just losing his mind.
Apparently, games before, a specific linesman broke up a fight a little too early and put their guy to a disadvantage where he couldn't defend himself. And it happened again in the game that we were playing against them. And Greg took exception to it, and he went off pretty good.
I wonder if he thought in his head, this game isn't televised. I'll be good. And there's some guy back 2 rows with the shaky camera phone that makes you live in infamy for what you've done.
He started losing it, throwing sticks, throwing everything, and eventually taking his jacket off, his tie, and his shirt.
Most coaches around hockey, you do not want to see them shirtless.
Greg's still in great shape, so he didn't embarrass himself by taking his shirt off by any means.
The guy was pretty ripped.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Greg Pankowitz.
And you kind of need some wow, wow, wow.
There were some comparisons drawn on Slapshot.
The crowd was loving every single second of it. They went nuts, more and more crazy with every article of clothing that went off. You half expected somebody to slide a 5 inside his pants.
Fans really enjoyed it. They like to see that passion by players. They don't want to see guys robots out there by not showing that. But I laughed. I thought it was pretty funny.
Coming up, these coaches may not be big league, but their antics sure were.
Oh, boy.
Moments 6 to 4 on the way. Welcome back to the show, and it doesn't matter what level of hockey you watch or where it takes place, there is a very good chance you can find a coach on the edge of losing it. I heard about one coach in Europe faking a heart attack on the bench just so he could get his boys a little breather. Remember Andrei Nazarov, the big Russian tough guy? Well, he became a coach, and he's still a tough guy.
This was a KHL game, and Andrei Nazarov, the former NHL tough guy, just lost it.
I would say a referee was feeling well, probably. He trying to do everything, make us lose. And last 30 seconds, make another call. 7 seconds to go, and our bench snapped. People spit on you through the glass and screaming and yelling, so it just kind of snap, I would say.
If you're a former tough guy, goon, whatever, I don't think you can ever take that out of you. And so just because you're in a suit behind the bench does not mean you've changed your ways. You can still snap.
At what point is someone allowed to take advantage, or have no disregard for your well-being or body, where you just stand there and take it forever? I mean, that's a double-edged sword, I think.
That's just one of those moments where he clearly just snapped. And now what would have happened if he actually got over the glass with that stick? That would have been well, he'd never ever get behind a bench again.
It just kind of surprised me because it was a hockey game. You know, I didn't know it's going to happen like this, but it happened. You know, I'll be smart next time. Somebody trying to spit at me, I'm just going to cover.
An incident happened in front of the bench there where one of their guys had cross-checked one of my guys from behind, and as he tried to get up, the guy cross-checked him again and knocked his helmet off. As he was getting up the third time, the guy cross-checked him again with his helmet off, right in the back of the head, and knocked him down again. And I was pretty infuriated by that, and the referee was actually standing right in front of our box, and I kind of leaned over and whispered to him. I said, buddy, if we don't get the power play out of this one, you're going to be picking stuff up till the sun comes up tomorrow morning, pal. And somehow we got 2 penalties out of the situation, and it turned it into a 4-on-3 situation. And he kind of smirked at me from across the ice, and I guess if you want to talk about proverbial straws, that was kind of the last straw, and if it wasn't bolted down, I mean, everybody saw it. It was basically a yard sale after that.
Take a look at this. A minor league hockey coach lost his cool on the ice. Louisiana's interim coach protests the referee's call, winds up throwing everything he can find onto the ice.
I started with the Gatorade cooler, moved on to the medical bags, and then basically went down to the other end of the bench to get all the sticks. And it was comical because the backup goalie looked at me like I was going to fire him on the ice. He was holding his gloves and his helmet and mask there. He wasn't giving those up. And then when I was out of stuff to throw there, the assistant coach, if you see on that videotape, he actually says to me, hey, Brent, you missed a couple of rolls of tape there at the end. And we kind of just overhand tossed him out lightly like a hook shot in basketball. And at that point, I don't think I could keep a straight face. If you see on there, I'm actually smirking a little bit.
Makes Bobby Knight look like an altar boy. He said it's not even the first time. He just lost his cool in the previous game. He not only got ejected, he's also been suspended from coaching indefinitely.
As I'm walking off the ice there, I kind of finally give the referee a round of applause because I actually felt that he finally got a call right by throwing me out of the game. I'm sure it's the longest suspension in the history of ice hockey coaches at any level. Was it the right thing to do? In hindsight, probably not, but I actually wouldn't have changed it. I'd have done the same thing.
We are the Kenai River Brown Bears. We play in the North American Hockey League. Our opponent on this particular evening was the Wenatchee Wild.
As Chris Clark hopped on the ice, I mean, the crowd just went nuts.
He took issue with the refereeing. He was not pleased.
Realizing that this game may very well be over because Kenai River has just been given 7 minutes of power play time with the Wild already down 2-1. Oh my God. Oh boy.
I was standing next to a player on their team at the face-off dot, and I remember when he came out on the ice, we both kind of just looked at each other like, what's going on here? Because he had the glasses on and the stick, and we weren't quite expecting that.
And then as he walked towards the referee circle, he started doing signals, and then it kind of dawned on me that, yeah, he was playing the blind referee.
Associate coach Chris Clark has come off the bench with sunglasses on and a hockey stick and has done his best sight-impaired impersonation.
3 Blind Mice was playing, and as he got off, it continued to play a little, and like I said, I think the crowd was really, really loving it. I was speechless. I had nothing to say. I was so shocked. I've never seen anything like that in my life.
To think of grabbing glasses from a fan, to think of turning the stick upside down to make the cane, he had to have thought of this somewhere before, and he was waiting for the right opportunity.
And I must admit, Clarky looks dapper in that outfit. He's got the tux tie on tonight.
People posting on Facebook, posting on my wall or whatever, you know, did this actually happen?
People couldn't believe it, but yeah, I put it on Twitter because anything like this that no one's ever seen before, and you know, something as surreal as this, the hockey world along with, you know, everyone else, it's pretty interesting to see.
In the day that it was first posted, it already had over, 100,000 hits in 8 hours.
I think over about 500,000 views on YouTube now.
This is probably the most famous thing that's ever happened to the North American Hockey League.
That was definitely one for the history books right there.
These moments didn't even make our countdown. Find out which meltdowns landed in our top 3 Coaches Gone Wild moments next.
He's getting good distance.
You may remember Jim Playfair from his brief NHL playing career when he suited up for 21 games. Or you might remember him as the head coach of the Calgary Flames in 06-07. But chances are you're going to remember him for his classic outburst as the head coach of the Abbotsford Heat. Here are Coaches Gone Wild moments 3 and 2.
It was between Hamilton and Abbotsford Heat. J.D. Watt was chasing the puck down the ice. Their goaltender came out at the bottom of the circle, and there was a bit of a collision. Next thing we knew, J.D. Watt got kicked out of the game.
J.D. is actually, I think, being tossed from this game, and he's going nuts here a little bit. I'm not so sure about this. He's having to be restrained.
I called the referee over for an explanation, and he just skated by and said, that was intent to injure. And I called him back and I said, I don't think it was. And he gave me a 2-minute minor penalty. That kind of was the start of it.
But now Jim Playfair is getting a penalty. And Jim Playfair just broke a stick over the ice. He has lost his mind. Jim Playfair is throwing the stick on the ice. Unbelievable. He's throwing his jacket off. Jim Playfair is going nuts on Jamie Koharski right now. And the fans are with them. And he's going to break a second stick. He's on the top of the bench, and Jim Playfair once again throws another stick out in the ice. Jim Playfair has absolutely lost it with this referee. And now Jamie Koharski is just going to outweigh him.
It's an incredibly intense situation, but he's yanking his tie over this way, and you can just see the guy stifling the giggles on the bench.
My son Austin was a stick boy for us that night, and when we got home, he came downstairs and said, Dad, 8,000 people have looked at this thing on YouTube. And I said, oh my God. So about an hour later, there was 26,000 people. And by the time we woke up in the next morning, it was 500,000 people. And
Jim Playfair is absolutely living with Jamie Koharski.
a comedian out of Winnipeg, actually, a morning DJ that did a complete voiceover on the whole incident.
I've been mistaken for Fanok. Come on!
Every time a coach blows up, we sit around as a coaching staff waiting to see if I'm going to get rated in the top 10 again with the TSN top 10 rating poll. But you know what? It is what it is.
There was a hit on Jay Pandolfo, and he went down. He was bleeding like a lot, and I felt it was a penalty.
That's what he's got now. Pandolfo falling up hard against the inboard. He and Dandino come together. What a collision! Pandolfo is slow to get up.
They never blew the whistle. The guy was like bleeding, and they went on and scored on us.
Draper the other way leads. Mopey! Saved by Brodeur! Mopey scores the rebound!
I was upset.
Could be 3-1. Devils are protesting because Pandolfo was down. Play perhaps should have been stopped.
There's a little bench that they move in and out in Detroit, and he grabbed it and threw it on the ice. I guess he didn't feel the rest were listening to him, so he said, this will get their attention.
Well, look at this. The bench just got thrown on the ice. The Devils bench.
Most benches are bolted down to the floor. It'd take quite a human effort to rip it out and throw it on the ice, but that one's loose.
I realized I was in trouble when I grabbed it because it was all solid oak, which is pretty heavy.
I don't know if that's I want to be the Hulk version of coach throwing things or what, or if he just couldn't find anything else.
So I went to throw it, and just as I was throwing it, Jason Arnott came skating by. So now instead of just going out, I had to go up and over, and I could feel everything strain and didn't go very far.
It was amazing because you could not absolutely believe that the bench was flying onto the ice. It was very unusual, very unique.
And threw the bench on the ice, and I was at the other end, so I'm like, well, I guess I'll pick it up. Brought it back over to the bench. I didn't know what to do.
To see him do that, I was pretty good. I was howling that night because I know what Robbie's like and stuff. I know what a competitor he is. So when he starts firing that bench on the ice, I was dying.
I never thought twice about it when he did it. I was like, good for you.
Do you still hear about it today, though?
Every time you guys run it, the boys come in and say, was that you in it? So, yes.
Mike Keenan, they have to restrain him. He is so mad.
Jim Playfair is going nuts.
You've seen 9 coaches go wild, but only one remains. Find out our number 1 moment next. A time now for the #1 hockey coach gone wild moment. We've seen a lot of stuff thrown, from sticks to tape to garbage cans. The only thing thrown in this next moment is an iconic insult from 1988 that will live in infamy.
Panico can't clear. Bork stopped it for Linsman. Score! Toward the net. Score! Tipped in front. Fires his in. He scores! And the Boston Bruins have exploded to a 3-0 lead. He shoots. He scores. Tom McCarthy makes it 6-1 Boston.
We were all in the dressing room. We heard the commotion outside in the hallway, but we didn't realize the scale of what had happened.
You're hot under the collar, you're frustrated, and you take it right out on the referee. And Coho took it right on the chin.
You're crazy. You're good because you fell, you fat pig. Have another donut. Have another donut.
Koharski thinks that Schoenfeld has pushed him, and that's why he loses it.
Well, what I think happened is as Don was coming off, we're barking a little bit at each other, and he went to step around me. And there was a mat, and then there wasn't mat, there's concrete, and I think his blade hit the concrete, as it will, and it slid a little bit, and he went down. But there were so many people around us, I'm sure someone may have bumped him, and his initial thought was that it was me, and it took on its life from there.
I think what everybody remembers most is the classic line.
Have another donut.
Have another donut.
Have another donut.
Have another donut.
Have another donut. Have another donut.
I've been trying for years to wonder where it came from and why it came and why I used it, but I don't know. I know a good pal of mine knew Coho, and they both lived in Burlington and would see each other at Tim Hortons Donuts. He said, I saw Coho, and oh yeah, well, if you see him again, give him my regards, and so maybe it all came together. I have no idea.
I don't buy that story for a second. I don't think you think there and go, what would be a good line to use on this occasion with a referee who I'm angry at, who might be a little bit overweight? Yes.
You're crazy. You're good because you fell, you fat pig. Have another donut. Have another donut.
He went right for the jugular there.
The best thing is that Cole got himself in shape afterwards. Yeah, I probably extended his life.
For me, it's the all-time great post-game rant on an official.
If you were to ask random people in a donut store, what's the #1 coaches gone wild moment, that would probably be it.
I don't know why it gives me so much pleasure to watch these coaches snap. We hope you enjoyed the show. From all of us here, thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon, folks.